look, it's being treated as some sort of indicator, this victory, that all is well with the Biden administration and the Democratic agenda. It's not. Joe Biden won California by nearly 30 points, and it has 2 Democratic senators. Its leaders include Newsom, Pelosi, Feinstein, Schiff, Eric Swalwell on Twitter, Alyssa Milano, there's your leader there. And the fact that the president and the vice president, and Biden and Harris, along with other major Democratic politicians like Liz Warren, need to travel 3,000 miles to campaign for Newsom just to help him survive speaks volumes, guys.
Jason, what do you think of that aspect of this? I have been thinking, it is a big deal that all of the most high-profile Democrats in the entire party either showed up or cut ads for Gavin Newsom. What was the sign there, if any?
I don't know that there was a sign. I think a lot of people were nervous that this recall actually went forward, and rightfully so. I think they had to secure a victory. They had to pull out the big guns. California is a state that Democrats can't afford to lose. And I think, honestly, they got a gift. I think Gavin Newsom would have been a lot closer to a recall had the Republicans run that race differently. But they didn't, and they went with a different playbook. And that's honestly—
What do you mean? Be more specific. What do you mean? How would they have run it differently? I'm interested in the answer here.
So I would say that most of the country is not red or blue, it's purple. Or at least some of the states on the East and West Coast are more purple than people give credit for. Like, of course, he mentioned, Joe Concha mentioned all of the Democratic leaders, but we're also, it's the state with, with Devin Nunes and is Mike McCarthy from California?
Kevin McCarthy.
I'm sorry.
Right.
Mike McCarthy's a football coach, but Kevin McCarthy.
Darrell Issa.
Yeah, you got a lot of, Republicans, but it is 2-1 Democrat to Republican there. And the way to win, of course, it's similar in my state. We're in Maryland, we're probably 2-1 Democrat to Republican, but we have a Republican governor. And that's because that Republican governor is a moderate Republican governor, and kind of seen more as a centrist, seen as reasonable, seen as somebody who goes issue by issue.
Right.
And I think what Republicans did was try to run a race in California the way you would run a race in Oklahoma. And that's not the way you do it. They went and got someone that was seen as a far-right ideologue, seen as someone who was closely aligned with Trump and Stephen Miller and people like that. And that's not going to work in California. That's going to galvanize the left-wing vote. What they needed was to drive participation down. That's the playbook. I always say this: if I really wanted to make money and Republicans really wanted advice, they should come to me. I'd have been like, look, you want to make this kind of a low profile race. You want to drive participation down. You want people to think they don't have to vote in LA County and in some of the places that are Democratic strongholds that have huge amounts of votes. Instead, they bring on someone who is seen as someone who is far to the right. And, they made the race, the race was going to be about Gavin Newsom.
Yes.
But then the race became about Larry Elder.
Yes.
And then it became about things that had nothing to do with COVID restrictions and things that Republicans were upset about and Democrats were upset about in California. It became about immigration.
Yes.
It became about other things that, in a state that's 45% Latino, or not 45, but largely, Latino, and you're running this kind of race. It was the wrong race, the wrong candidate. And now it's done a lot for Larry Elder, I think, on a national stage. But if you really wanted to win this race in California, you run a moderate Republican. Had they run a moderate Republican, boosted him up, got him more of a profile, got the rank and file Republicans that include some people who are farther to the right and some people who are in the center, and tried to drive participation down, I think this could have had a different result.